Listen,
Yep.
it's spicy. I'm not gonna lie. Like I'm
Love
here for
that.
it, but at the same time, like if I'm in a really like official meeting or something, and all of a sudden it's just in the background it's your boobs, and I'm just like, like I'm trying to like have a conversation, just like, oh yeah, no, we gotta get this done. Can you not? Like, it was just.
The boss
Oh,
is like,
that's
"E,
good.
why is your face so red right now?"
And everything. I don't know how to say words. All of a sudden, it's
You're like, I think that's the breast grab. I meant the best
Yeah,
looking
best
grab.
ever.
Exactly.
Best ever.
Yeah, it gets a little sus for sure.
Dave Ryan Show on KDWB. You know, we're always trying to be the innovators, not the imitators.
New slogan.
The innovators, not the imitators. It's KDWB, and it's the Dave Ryan in the Morning Show. Now, usually when somebody goes on vacation, we'll have somebody fill in, and Eric will come in, or Kate Raditz will come in, or something like that. So we said, well, let's try something different. I've been listening to a podcast called Straight Candid, and it is not targeted toward me at all. It is targeted toward younger women because it's hosted by younger women, Sid and Soph, the podcast called Straight Candid. How you guys, who went to Chanhassen High School?
I did. This is Sid. I should say my name.
Sid, you went to Chanhassen High School. What year did you graduate?
2015.
Okay, so you didn't know Carson, but you knew of Carson, my son.
I knew of him because my sister.
How did you know of him? How did his name come up?
Because he's Dave Ryan's son.
So
and we all listened to War of the Roses.
That's why he hates me. Because
Is that why?
No,
Is that why?
That's why he hates me, because everybody's like, "Oh, good to meet you. You're Dave Ryan's son." You know how tired he would get of hearing that stuff after a while?
Yeah, but that's kind of like the rep. He's in Chanhassen. It's smaller. You know what I mean? It's like everybody's listening to War of the Roses in the morning. We all cruise to school, talk about it when we got there. I don't know. I mean, it's
that.
Carson. You're like, oh, and hey, and there's his son.
And where did you go to school?
I was just going to say this finally came full circle because I didn't know who Carson was until right now.
Oh, yeah.
Are you
kept
serious?
It's your son, yeah.
So you've heard me bring up Carson, and you didn't know who he was?
No, I just thought you knew of a man named Carson who maybe works at KDWB.
So we got to work on that. Say
Yep,
Carson's your son.
Carson is my son, yeah.
Okay.
Well, we all think that when I say Susan, do you know who Susan is?
Your wife.
Because she's a fan. She's a super fan, though.
Sid's a big listener.
You don't listen to our show, Sid, and that's
No, hey.
Soph, sorry. You don't listen. Why is that?
I do listen.
Okay. I'm just giving you a hard time.
Occasionally, but I'm also a big podcast person, obviously.
Well,
so when I'm listening to talking, a lot of times I hit up the podcast.
There it is.
If you guys do a podcast called Straight Candid.
Correct.
And I think that it was Sid that wrote to me and said, hey, listen to this podcast, give it a plug, something like that. And I listened to it going, okay, it's another podcast. You guys were actually really funny. And Straight Candid is based on the fact that you guys will talk about anything, which is kind of like goes hand in hand with a show like ours because we'll talk about anything. For example, Fallon had hemorrhoids after she had a baby. And so nobody talks about hemorrhoids because nobody wants to hear about it. But things like that, you guys will talk about.
Oh, yeah. We would for sure throw hemorrhoids into the scene if we needed to.
We're not afraid of it. Normalize the conversation. That's all I'm going to say. It can be funny, but it can also be serious.
And one of the bits that you guys do is your Straight Candid Moment of the Week. So we're going to launch right there with Straight Candid Moment of the Week. What is the Straight Candid Moment of the Week?
Well, we told you to bring one as well. So you're going to obviously.
One.
Okay, heck yeah. Do you want me to start?
Well, let's explain what it is, I guess, first.
You go ahead.
So Straight Candid Moments, we kind of started this podcast in order to talk about taboo topics and also make situations that are embarrassing or make you feel vulnerable a little more normal. So we share literally everything about our life. Sid has countless times talked about her bowel issues on the podcast.
You have bowel issues?
Sounds like me.
I actually do.
Yeah,
and
like
some people will say it's
belly
fake.
Problems.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good segue into Sid. Do you have a Straight Candid moment?
Okay, I do. But hey, I want to start off with I'm a pooper and I'm proud, all right?
Okay.
On the podcast, we talk about poop. We want to normalize it. Girls
does
poop.
happen, yeah.
Get over it. In high school, people didn't believe that girls pooped. You don't want to hear about poop, but they're funny stories. That's all I'm saying. I was on vacation with my boyfriend. He's probably listening right now, and he's going to be like, don't tell this story. Don't tell the story. But we're having a little sexy time, and, things are getting hot and spicy or whatever. And my stomach was hurting, and no one's surprised about that. And, a little toot fly, and I thought no one would notice. And, my boyfriend lifted up the covers, and I had literally, what's the word? what is it called when you
can't
Dutch
say
oven.
Oh, okay.
Dutch oven?
Yeah.
No, I
I
Dutch
thought
oven
it
a
was
little
something
bit.
else.
And,
I was going to say, you can't say that on the radio.
and it was like in the middle of spicy time. I've never tooted around him. He had no idea I had stomach issues. I tried to hide them. I've used Poovery a number of times, and it was the most uncomfortable, embarrassing moment. Like
Do you
I was.
bring it up? Do you acknowledge it?
No.
Do you apologize? Or do you
No.
pretend that it's
But
not
that
there?
time you had to.
Well, he goes, Sid, come on, and I'm like, no, I didn't. He's like, you did it?
Deny.
I denied. I swear to God, I jumped to that. He's like, yes, you did. Who else would have? I'm like, no. Like, I actually didn't. And I'm like sweating. I'm getting hot. My cheeks are bright
Then
red.
what was it?
It was something that I don't know of, but I had no time to think. I'm like, I didn't even know that he
you
was going to
couldn't fake it.
No,
you
I
had
couldn't
to
fake
just admit to it.
I admitted it later, but for a while, for at least a 2-day period, I carried on that it was not me.
But it was, of course.
Well, it was. Who else is in the room?
Of
I mean,
course,
like,
exactly.
but if you deny, you can eventually. I think everybody will believe it.
No, that's very true.
So,
okay, your
anywho.
straight candid moment. I love it. Okay, so your straight candid moment.
My straight candid moment of the week. So first of all, I will say that I've been drinking decaf coffee. So this is something that's a little strange. So I'm the one who goes up to the coffee barista and asks for a decaf coffee, and they look at you like, what are you doing?
Wow.
And I'm like, I need the decaf because also on our podcast, we like to talk about mental health, and my anxiety this week has been absolutely insane. So I've been drinking decaf. So that's part of my straight candid moment. Sometimes we share a little bit more realness. So that's half a straight candid moment. But the other straight candid moment I want to share is from the other week. I was at
Jack's.
Cowboy Jack's. And this is just a funny story in general because I like to flirt. Sometimes it's fun to flirt with the
Because you're single.
Because I'm single, yeah.
And Sid, you have a boyfriend.
I do, yeah.
Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, got it. Okay.
Shout out Jordan. Hey.
Shout out Jordan. He's gonna be like, God, stop.
So I finally decided I was gonna flirt with this man, and I start flirting with him at the bar. We're chatting. I'm talking to his friend. All of a sudden, I finally get like this off vibe from him, and he walks away. I'm like, wow, he's either rude or he has a girlfriend. I was like pissed that he wasn't reciprocating the flirt. And all of a sudden, the bartender comes up to me and she goes, oh, are you talking about blank blank? She goes, oh, yeah, that's my boyfriend. So I was flirting with her boyfriend right in front of her. So that
Standing
was a fun,
at the bar.
Yeah,
With
that was a fun
the
one.
bartender's boyfriend right in front of her.
Yeah.
But
What
you
a
didn't know.
scumbag.
It's okay.
No, he wasn't flirting back.
He
He wasn't giving me
I thought he
attention.
was. I was like, come on,
No,
man. Your girlfriend's
no.
right there.
I was like, I felt rejected. So I was strongly rejected. And then the girlfriend came up to me and she goes, yeah, honestly, he's the sweetest guy ever. And then my heart kind of sank into my ass and into my booty
It's
hole.
okay. You can say that. Yeah.
Okay.
You just can't say a hole, that
Okay.
whole
Oh,
word.
got
Just
it.
don't say that whole word.
I know. They're like, all right, we're going to be careful with the swearing. I'm like, all right,
know, I'm like,
here
I
we
had to
go.
prep.
We're talking to the hosts of a podcast called Straight Candid, and they're from here. And we said, oh, I love the podcast. Let's get them on the show while Fallon's got a day off just to, because it'd be kind of fun and then plug your podcast because you deserve it. So it's called Straight Candid, and you can find it on any podcast app. And then so let's get Jenny's Straight Candid moment because this
Jenny.
is basically your
Man,
embarrassing moment of the week. Your
I
uncomfortable
didn't
moment
want
of the week.
to have to keep going down this track, but mine also involves bowels
Thank
because
you.
I have issues
Yes.
too. But I'm not going to go into detail. You can listen to the Two Lane for Radio podcast if you want the full detail. But we had kickball playoffs last weekend, and I had to go to the bathroom. Nerves were very high. I was drinking coffee. We were playing kickball at like 9. I go to the bathroom. I do what you think I'm doing in there, and I reach for the toilet paper, and there's none.
No.
There is absolutely none. I
Oh
don't have
my
my
God.
phone with me. I needed it. I needed it that time. It wasn't a clean sweep sort of situation. It was like,
all right.
so I will let you listen
Dave is
to
not
the
into
Two Lane.
that poop.
Yeah, he's not. So I'm going to let you listen to the rest of how I resolve that situation on my podcast because it gets too graphic and I honestly can't talk about it on the radio, but it is very embarrassing what happened.
I appreciate your discretion, Jenny, instead of going, so anyway, what I did is I found an old sock.
I was kind of interested.
I
but
was too.
Okay.
I truthfully don't think I can say a lot of it on the radio,
All right,
so
well,
we'll
then,
just leave
you know
it.
what?
Yeah.
If you think you can't, then you
It
definitely
probably
can't.
can't.
Be proud
All
to
right.
poop, Dave. Be proud to poop.
Yeah,
Well,
come on,
Yeah,
Dave.
it's something that we all, I guess, enjoy. Most of us don't talk about it, though. My Straight Candid moment has nothing to do with poop. I was at a park, and I have a ukulele because I play the ukulele, and I don't go home very often because my wife is never there, and that's a long story. So when I do have time, I go to the park. I got some Jimmy John's. I go over to the park over here in Golden Valley, and as I walk into the park to have my little lunch, and I got my ukulele, I'm going to practice a little bit. These 3 old ladies at a table, 75-ish, 70 years old, they go, oh, are you going to serenade us? Because you carry a musical instrument around, people say things like that. Oh, are you going to play something for us? So eventually I did. I had my lunch, and I went over and I said, I'm going to sing you guys a song. And I sang a song that I thought that they would love. It's called the Tennessee Waltz, because they're old ladies, and my mom used to love this song. And I thought, oh, they'll love this song. I played it. They gave me the most blank expression at the end. Crickets, blank expression. And I said, do you know that song? And they're like, no, we've never heard that song. Fallon said, did you sing? I said, well, of course I sang.
Oh, no.
And then Jenny and Fallon both said, well, that's why they were annoyed, because you can't sing.
Yeah.
So
Can we hear
Great
a
at
little
ukulele.
Come on.
Give us a little
Dave.
taste. You have to perform something for them.
All right, here we go.
Perform
Ready?
something, because you're good at ukulele.
Maybe not.
I was dancing with my darling to the Tennessee Waltz when an old friend I happened to see. And I thought they would look at me with such delight. They looked at me like Sid just pooped in their bed. I mean, seriously, they were just not into it. So there's
they
my
hear
straight
you?
candid moment. Could they hear me?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to
I
figure
was
it out.
right there.
Okay,
I
all
was
right.
this far away. I was 3 feet away.
I'm trying to help your case. That's all.
No,
Hey.
I wish I had an excuse. I'll never do that again. E. White, do you have a straight candid moment? Here we go.
Hi, hello. No. So my girlfriend has just been like consistently during meetings flashing me for no reason.
Yes, I love
And,
that.
like-
Seen this
like,
TikTok trend.
Listen,
Yep.
it's spicy. I'm not gonna lie. Like I'm
Love
here for
that.
it, but at the same time, like if I'm in like in a really like official meeting or something, and all of a sudden it's just in the background is her boobs, and I'm just like like I'm trying to like have a conversation, just like, oh yeah, no, we gotta get this done. That, can you not? Like, it was just.
The boss
Oh,
is like,
that's
E,
good.
why is your face
it's
so
like I
red
get
right now?
flustered and everything. I don't know how to say words. All of a sudden, it's
You're like, I think that's the breast grab. I meant the best
Yes, the
looking
best
grab.
ever.
Exactly.
Best ever.
Yeah, it gets a little sus for sure, but we make it
Sus.
work. You know, you can, but we
That's
make it work.
awesome.
Oh my God, that's great.
Sid, I think you
Straight
got to
candid
start.
moments.
I think you got to start that one with Jordan.
Oh God.
Give
No.
him some straight candid moments
No,
to
he'd be
share.
like, what the heck? What are you doing? Stop. Hold on. I'm pausing the meeting.
We're talking to Sid and Soph. They host a podcast that originates here in town, but it's worldwide. It's called Straight Candid, and we're going to come back in a second. We're going to talk about red flags or deal breakers. So whether this is a red flag in a relationship or a deal breaker in a relationship, we'll give some different scenarios with Sid and Soph coming up next on KDWB, the Dave Ryan in the Morning Show. Any comments or anything? Text us at KDWB1 53921. I want an entourage. I don't have an Do you have an entourage, Jenny? I don't have an entourage.
I don't know. Does Andrew be considered entourage? Oh, that's my only entourage then.
So Sid and Soph, they do a podcast. They're from here in town, and it's called Straight Candid. And they have an entourage over here. But it turns out not just an entourage. These are like the guys from Back Pocket Boy. That's a podcast that they got you doing podcasting.
The Back Pocket Podcast. Yeah.
Back Pocket Podcast. So the boys from Back Pocket. So, and then who are these other guys that are hanging around in here?
These are our new producers and our other like people that work and help us on the podcast.
They're the roadies.
They're the roadies.
Wow, and you guys have producers. And what did you do before this? Because you now do this podcast. I know you still got your side hustle, which is kind of like your breadwinning hustle. So what do you do on the side?
So I work for Barry's in Northeast Minneapolis as a group fitness instructor, and then I also am a personal trainer. And also the podcast. It's about the full-time gig
Loaded.
right now.
Yeah.
Loaded. We're very
Plates
loaded.
are loaded.
Plates are very
And
loaded.
who trains Jenny? Because one of you works out with Jenny. Is that you?
So I work with Demi, who also works for the same company that Soph works for. So we just did a group workout recently, and Soph was my instructor at Barry's last night. She kicked my A, Dave. She kicked it hard.
It was a fun workout. But so I work for Resolute Fitness, which is a personal training company as well. And I see Jenny every day killing it, literally killing it in the gym. Jenny is like the most committed client ever.
Well, it's easy when you work with people like Soph and Demi. They're like the best trainers ever. So
Thanks,
good job,
girl.
guys.
Appreciate it.
So I heard this podcast, and I'm like, oh, these two would be fun to have on the radio. So I said, well, you just take over the show. I said, I'm not going to have you come in and like me talk about your technical aspects of like what equipment and blah, blah, blah. Let's talk about disgusting things. Let's talk about the things you talk about on your podcast. So the podcast called Straight Candid. So then Sid says, let me tell you a story about it was a date gone bad.
Well, no, it was a trip up north gone bad.
Oh,
okay.
And this is so we have listeners write in their Straight Candid moments, which is their embarrassing stories, and we share them on the podcast. So,
Anonymously.
Gotcha.
Anonymous.
So you're not going to know who it is, but this is good. So basically, I'm going to read it because they sent it in as a text. So I have a Straight Candid moment I actually forgot about until I went back this weekend where it all happened. 2 years ago, my new boyfriend in my relationship, and with a new boyfriend in my relationship is what I meant, went up to his uncle's cabin with his entire family to meet them all. It was a blast, and we played games, drank way too much around the bonfire, besides my drinking getting a little bit out of hand and arguing politics with his entire family, but that's a completely different story. I had one too many, but things were going well. My boyfriend headed to bed. I stayed up too late with the family, had a few more unnecessary cocktails, and then I politely excused myself around 2. I waddled up to bed, one eye open. I made it to bed, crawled in, cuddled up to my boyfriend. I'm not even sure how long we were cuddled up for and sleeping for when I was woke up by his aunt. She was coming to bed in her bed, and I was cuddled up with my uncle's boyfriend.
Your boyfriend's uncle.
Yes. My boyfriend's uncle. I said
boyfriend's
uncle's
uncle.
boyfriend. Yeah, I said it backwards. But yeah.
She got in bed with the wrong guy.
She literally new to the family, doesn't know everybody at all, is cuddled up, rubbing the back of the uncle, thinking she's in the right room with her
Why
boyfriend.
didn't the uncle do anything about it?
Because he was asleep. He probably had too many too.
And probably thought it was the aunt. Just looked like
No,
coming
you-
into
Like
bed.
nobody looks.
Wow.
Think about it. If you've got too many.
Dave's like, you would know.
I don't know. I've
No.
crawled into a bed a time or two in college that was the wrong person.
Are you serious?
Yeah, my roommates. One time I had gotten done doing something in my bedroom, and then I went to the bathroom, and then instead of going back into my bedroom, I went into my roommate's bedroom, which she was in bed with a strange man, and I crawled in with the two of them, and I was like, hello, and they're like, Jenny, wrong bed. I was like, okay, goodbye.
Good Lord.
So it's common, apparently.
Yeah, apparently so. Wow, that's funny.
Yeah.
We're talking about red flags, and red flags are deal breakers.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
I think that there's obviously a big difference. So is this something you're going to throw out a scenario, and then we talk about whether it's a red flag or a deal breaker?
Yes.
All right.
So this could be in a relationship or if you're just dating someone. So how we define red flags, is it's questionable, but you could get over it, right? Deal breakers are it's over, it's canceled, we won't work.
Mhm.
So that's the differentiating factor between red flags and deal breakers.
Like you
Okay.
can look around the red flag,
Yeah.
but you can't look around the deal breaker.
Yep.
Okay.
So we're gonna start with one. Sid and I came with a few for you guys to answer. So Dave, they Venmo request you for less than $5. Red flag or deal breaker?
Oh.
Red flag.
Okay.
Yeah, just a red flag.
You can
That's-
get over it.
Well, yeah, it's not a big deal. There's probably some weird explanation for it, but okay.
You
yeah.
bought them a pack of gum for $125 and they request you for it?
I mean, I guess, yeah. So it's a red flag.
Jenny?
Fair enough.
I would say red flag, but that's because I'm frugal, so I'd probably be the one
Yeah.
doing it to someone.
Same.
So,
Totally would, yeah.
Yep. Honestly, I would do it too.
right?
So to you guys, that is also a red flag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's kind of weird, but whatever. Over
Okay.
it.
Sid, you got one?
Okay. They still sleep with stuffed animals. You go over there for the first night, they've got a bunch of stuffed animals in their bed.
How many we talking?
4 at least. 4
Okay.
plus.
Okay.
Like 4 at least.
At least.
You know what? I'm desperate, and that probably means if I'm dating anybody, that means I'm divorced now, and I'm probably not going to be that picky. So to me, it's just a red flag. I'd be like, she's a little bit weird.
Okay, but
I
back
get
in your
this-
heyday. Let's go back to the heyday.
Okay,
what would it be?
Okay, it's still a red flag. I mean,
Really?
I'm happy to be
Really?
there.
Yeah.
I'm happy to be in her bedroom.
Uh-huh.
Seriously, it's
Dave,
like
we know.
I throw those stuffed animals off the bed.
We know.
Let's
Jenny's
go.
like, oh
We're
my
ready to go. Jenny.
Okay, I probably am going to go with deal breaker on that one. I'd probably have to scan the room for any other things first, but I would say deal breaker.
Something else must be off in that
Yeah.
room
Mhm.
rather than the. I'll be honest, I still sleep with the stuffed animal.
Oh, well, one.
One
Just
that you
one.
got.
Okay,
Just one.
that makes sense.
His name's Carmel. It's a little dog.
Oh, God.
Okay, is
I've told
this-
a really good story about Carmel on the podcast that I cannot share on air.
Carmel has seen too
I
much.
already
That's
know
all.
what it is.
And Dave has a story like that involving a Nerf
I was
ball.
going to say, I already know what it is. You don't have to tell me.
Help.
Boy,
Help.
all right.
Let's
Someone
just say I've
send
had
help.
Carmel since I was very young.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, I was going to say there must be a history with Carmel.
There's me and Carmel go way back.
Yeah.
Oh,
okay, I
Lord,
kinda
help
got
me.
That. All right.
Anywho,
red flags or
If Carmel could talk.
If Carmel could talk, that poor thing.
She has one eye. No, I'm kidding.
By the way, if you just turn your radio on, you're going, who are these people? There's a local podcast, but it's like worldwide. It's called Straight Candid. These are the hosts. And I heard the podcast. I said they'd be fun to have in. So let's support a local women-run podcast. And it's all about just being real life stuff. and you two can get real and emotional and disgusting. And it's called Real Candid, or Straight Candid. Sorry, we got to take a break. We'll come back with more red flags in a couple of seconds, and also we're going to talk about, what was it again? There was another thing you guys want to talk about for sure.
How you have to date nerds and catching a cheater on social media.
This is what I told Sid. I said you got to stop dating hot guys because this is my theory. You got to date like not attractive guys. Jordan, I'm going to guess, is probably really attractive.
He is. He's very.
That's why he's going to be a problem. And I'll tell you more about that. It's coming up in a second. Stay here, the Dave Ryan Show. We were talking about whether your dad listens to your podcast or not. We're talking to Sid and Soph here. By the way, my son Carson says her name is not Soph. Nobody calls her Soph. It's Sophie. But
some people call me Soph.
okay, good.
Depends.
As I told him, I said
Carson doesn't know me.
Carson, come on.
Right? Exactly. So the podcast called Straight Candid, which is all about things that you normally don't talk about in polite conversation, like you would not sit around like Thanksgiving dinner and talk about some of the things you guys talk about. But that's part of the charm, is that you talk about real things. Does your dad, either of your dads, listen to the podcast? Soph, we'll start with you.
So I just want to clarify that we're not, if you've heard of Call Her Daddy podcast, like we are definitely a little more clean, and we just talk about things that are taboo in terms of, in a healthy way. So yes, we talk about sexy time and we talk about, bowel issues, but it's real things that happen in people's lives. So yes, we do talk about taboo things, but I just want to clarify that it's not raunchy, if that makes sense.
No, it's not at all.
Exactly.
No,
Okay,
no.
cool. So my dad, he's probably listening. Hey, Dad, what's up? I don't know if he listens, but I've kind of avoided always asking him if he listens, because there are some episodes that are a little more goes into details about, certain parts of the female body or things like that. So I've never directly asked him, and he's never said anything to me about it. So I'm just going to keep it like that.
That's a good.
I'm just going to keep it. Yeah.
Of two daughters, that's the way to handle it. Just kind of pretend that it doesn't really exist.
Yeah. I mean, he's definitely proud of me. Like he's
mentioned,
he's mentioned, like, that's so cool that you guys are working with Back Pocket Production Company, and Bud Light is now up in your sponsorship. Like, that's awesome. But he's never talked directly in detail about one episode in particular. But love you, Dad.
My dad, he listens. Shout out Marty K. He's crazy. We call him Party Marty. But he posted on Facebook. I think it was Facebook. And he was like, proud of my daughter, even though some of these topics I really didn't want to hear, but proud of her. And I don't think he listens like any more actively.
Yeah.
But it's not because, like Soph said, we're not raunchy. We just talk about taboo things. And we also like to get underrepresented groups and to talk about real things and what it's actually like to, be in these groups. And like, we just want everybody to feel like they have a mic to come to and hear stories like from a gay couple's perspective, like in different things like that. Like, so yeah.
In a safe space to write in stories that or questions that they have that they're not comfortable asking friends. Even like there's people that have told us things that they've never told anyone else.
Literally.
So,
not to put you on the spot, but can you think of anything? I mean, I'm putting you on the spot a little bit, but
some are along the lines of like, I think my best friend's cheating with my boyfriend. I don't know how to address it. Like, do you have advice on how I can go about figuring this out? Things like that. So that's something that I know.
She thought her best friend was cheating with her
boyfriend?
Oh, yeah.
It was a DM.
It's more common than you think. Yeah.
So your friend is sleeping with your best friend is sleeping with your own boyfriend?
Yes.
Yeah. Probably not a best friend, but
yeah. Or like just people asking like, I'm curious. I have a long-term boyfriend and I don't know if I'm fully straight. Like I don't even know how to start that conversation. And it's not like we know everything, but when we speak it out and we can ask people to write in like, what's your answer to? Like, what do you think? This is what we think. We kind of act like the older sisters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
So we're going to go back to the red flags or deal breakers, which is, I think, is a whole lot of fun.
It's so
basically
fun.
like I threw one out at you guys a little while ago. We're on the phone. I said, okay, let's say he takes you to Axel's and his credit card is declined. And you're like, who takes me to Axel's? I don't want to go to Axel's. I'm like, oh, that's more of a mom and dad kind of a restaurant.
Mom and pop.
Mom and pop. So let's say, how old are you, Soph?
I turned 26 this weekend.
Woo,
Birthday weekend. Yeah.
Oh, my God. Well, happy birthday. So let's
Thank
say
you.
some guy takes you to Axel's and you walk in, you're going, Axel's is great for my mom and dad.
Yeah.
Is that a red flag or is that a deal breaker?
I would prefer him to be like, what are you into beforehand? Because, the card decline, probably a red flag.
What about this one? What if he says he finds out what you're going to order and then he orders for you?
Oh, hell no.
What if he says, you're probably going to have the salmon Caesar salad?
I make my own food decisions.
Okay, so that would be a deal breaker.
I'm a huge foodie. It's also a deal breaker if he's picky and doesn't like to do like family style stuff. Like I'm like, can I have a bite of that? I need them to be able to share.
Yeah,
the
you got to
food.
share your food.
You got to share the foods. You can try both.
I know Jordan gets mad at me because I always ask him to split. I'm like, would you want to split something?
But see, we don't want to split though. We want it to ourselves.
No,
I
multiple
love
plates.
splitting.
We could even get like an added meal. Like, come on, what? And he always gets mad because whenever the waiter comes up or waitress, I always go, so what's your favorite thing on the menu?
I do that too.
And they say it and I go, oh, that sounds good. I'm going to get the, and I do something else every time.
My boyfriend
every
does
time.
that. He does that
Does
at
he?
like every restaurant, yeah. But we're a splitsy kind of couple too.
Thank you. See?
Because you want the sweet and the savory, maybe. You want the healthy and the non-healthy.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah. Mix in a salad, whatever.
Let's do another.
Did that answer your question?
You know, no.
Wait,
no.
Dave.
No, what?
I have a question for you.
Go ahead.
Red flag or deal breaker? They kiss their mom on their mouth. And Jenny, this is for you too. He
Oh my
kisses
God.
his mom on the mouth.
He,
Oh,
Go for it.
He's not young.
Like lip to
I
lip.
don't think that my boyfriend and his mom have ever done that, but she is a kisser and she does kiss on cheeks. So
cheek is fine.
That's okay.
I think I would have to lead into the relationship a little deeper because that would make me fearful. He's a mama's boy and she's going to ruin our relationship because she's so involved at that
yeah.
point. So I would say once I see their relationship a little bit further, maybe. But if it becomes that she is very involved, then it's a deal breaker, yes.
Oh, man.
If the tongue's involved, yeah.
Oh, God.
yeah, if the tongue is
stop it.
involved, then that's a
stop
whole
it.
different
Stop.
story, and I'm out of there within
That's
seconds.
horrifying.
To me, that's, you know what? Because I would be desperate. Again, if I were single and I saw her, kiss her. I saw this one time.
What?
I saw my girlfriend's brother kiss his dad on the mouth.
That's the other side.
And I was like,
wow.
oh, that had to have been an accident. I was uncomfortable for them. And that's just like everything that's normal to them. I never even hugged my dad. And here this guy was kissing his dad on the mouth. And I was like, oh, God.
I don't know about that.
Was
that,
it a cheek turn or like a purposeful?
No, it was purposeful.
Wow.
And they were happy with
Okay.
it.
Yeah.
Listen,
Yeah.
we don't know the
Families-
family dynamics.
yeah,
We don't
families
know.
are different.
They're different. You know, it is what it is. But for me personally, no. No kissing.
No.
We're older.
Have you ever seen that before?
On the lips?
Yeah.
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Yes,
So it's a deal
wonderful.
breaker for you.
I think so. I'm already like a little bit like, whoa, like don't get too close.
We are talking to Sid and Soph. They host a podcast called Straight Candid Podcast, and I heard it a couple of weeks ago, and I listened to one episode, and pretty soon I've listened to like a dozen episodes, and I heard the one with Jordan on where Jordan was talking about finance and success, and it was like, wow, Jordan is like really smart and really cool, and so are
Dave,
you two.
you would like that one.
Yeah.
That was your.
Yeah, that was
That's
that
your
was,
That's a
niche.
Dave one.
I'm glad I heard that one. We're going to come back in a second with more with the hosts of Straight Candid coming up in a second on KDWB. Got a couple of text messages here regarding kissing parents on the lips.
Yep.
At KDWB1 53921, my dad kissed me at my graduation, and I was traumatized. Now, if my dad would have ever kissed me, he was like old school, like handshake was as intimate as my dad ever got. It's like, okay, good to see you're getting married, son. Handshake, handshake. Congratulations on graduation, son. Handshake. Lip-to-lip kissing between adult children and their parents freaks me the F out.
Thank you.
Bye. Is anybody okay with it? Is anybody in this room okay with lip-to-lip parent? Like, no?
It's
Lots
weird
of
to
no's.
me.
Listen, people on TikTok, they've always got the opposite opinion, you know what I mean? Because they can hide behind their computer or their phone or whatever it is. But when we posted this to TikTok, people were like, are you serious? That's just how families are. You don't understand. Clearly, like maybe your parents don't love you. People are crazy.
Maybe your parents
Oh,
don't
yeah.
love you because they don't kiss you on the mouth.
I'm like, hey, that's fine
Absolutely
then. I'll be
not.
good over here.
Now, can we talk about like attractive guys? Because one of the things that I heard you guys do, this is Sid and Soph, and they host a podcast called Straight Candid. And I was listening to one, and I think it was Sophie that you were basically tracking your boyfriend who was he was in
Oh,
L.A.
no.
That was
was
Faye.
that you?
Yeah.
It wasn't Jordan.
It was
though.
not Jordan.
So it was some
It was
guy.
her ex-boyfriend.
Yes,
You
this is an
were-
ex.
he
This is a
was-
while back.
Tell me the story, because it was something like you knew he was in L.A., and you thought that he was being like, faithful, honest, whatever, but you did some trickery and you found out that's not true.
Yeah, so Instagram has changed some of their rules and different algorithms, so you can't necessarily do this in full, but he had been a little bit trickery on me and kind of was like trying to sneak around. I kept seeing girls' names pop up on his phone, and he would like, no, babe, no, like
Sketchy.
all is good to go, like we're good. So he's in LA for over a week with a large group of guys who all like to party, and he's like, I gotta put my phone away, like talk to you later, whatever. And I'm like, are you going out? And they're like, no. So I saw a story from one of the other guys on Instagram, so their Instagram stories. He was out at a club, And I was like, and he didn't tag where it was. So I'm looking around. I'm like, what the heck was this? So I Googled. This is so bad. I'm not
So
creepy. I Googled a few clubs. I put those clubs' names into Instagram. I went to their main page. You know, you can look at like the recent posts. One of the posts was from that night. And I went to that girl and I went to her story. Like, so I went back
Holy
in.
crap. Wait.
She posted an Instagram post.
Rewind. So you found the club on Instagram.
Yeah.
Then you clicked on their recent post and found a girl who worked there, maybe?
She was there for that night. She just happened to have
and
just
then you
posted.
clicked on her Instagram
and I went to her
story.
Instagram story. Then I went to her, and it was the club. And I was like, this is the exact same Instagram or it's club in the other Instagram story of his teammate or whatever. So then I'm like, oh my God, he's a little liar. So then I went to a few of her friends that she had tagged in the Instagram story.
Okay, you can't say
can't
that.
say S.
Okay,
Oh,
I gotta
hold
bleep it.
on.
You're okay. You're all right. You're good.
Don't worry. We have a drop button. There's a delay. There's a
you're
reason
good.
we have a delay on the radio. It's for dropping
okay,
swear
Soph.
words.
So
Swear
it's like,
word.
oh crap. Long story short, I found out he was at the club. He was in one of the Instagram stories. So I went so deep that I actually found him in
That
one of the stories.
Amazes
Oh, yeah.
me.
I'm
Not-
horrified.
Because you did such a deep little puzzle of deep dives to find your boyfriend at this club when he said, me and the guys were just staying home. We're not going out tonight.
Oh, and you used to be able to go on Instagram. This is how you catch a little cheater. You know what I mean? You used to be able to go on Instagram on your laptop, and it would show in order of the people who they just followed and who just followed them. So I could see who they just followed, like within, however long the last person they followed. And I looked, and he had followed all 3 of the girls that were at the club.
So what ended up happening? Did he ever come clean about the girls in the club, or was that the end of everything?
No, he lied about it after, but I watched their stories all night because guess what? They all hung out all night long.
All night?
Oh, yeah.
Like until 6 in the morning?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And then in
Wow.
the morning, I just ignored him. And he was like, what did I do? I was sleeping last night. And I'm like, oh, were
Yeah.
you?
Let me
Wow.
clarify, too, because that story makes Sid sound psycho.
I'm not, you guys.
But-
I'm not.
But you're not, because it definitely has to do with the trust issues when it came to like that boyfriend, because you're not like that.
I'm
currently.
0% like that.
Problem, though, this is my problem, and I've been preaching this for years, is that you got to date a fugglier guy because I'm going to guess that this Mr. like LA nightclub, he was super hot, tall, thick hair, worked out. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he was
She's
really
like,
attractive.
You were
Listen,
just talking
no,
recently
hey.
about how attractive my boyfriend is.
Yeah.
So am I the fugly one in this relationship then, or where are we
you're
going
missing
with
the
this?
Point. You're both attractive. Andrew's way too attractive for you.
Right. So
but-
I'm in the
but I've-
now I have to be worried about him is what you're saying.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, but
Oh,
Andrew's a
right.
really nice
Man.
guy. That's the difference. Andrew's a really nice guy. But if you date a fugglier guy, he's going to be really happy to be with you. This is what the problem is with attractive women. They meet attractive guys because attractive people attract. Okay? But the attractive guy, he's going to meet women all over the place because that's what happens. So you got to meet a guy, go out with a guy who's not very attractive, maybe got a beer belly on him, maybe
Beer
like
belly.
like a patchy beard, not a nice thick beard, but a patchy one. And maybe thinning hair, and then go out with this guy, and he'll be so attractive and attracted and loyal to you.
I will say in the past, I've been attracted to the typical conventional attractive guy, let's say.
Yeah.
And they don't make me feel special. There's something missing. There's like that non-committal, confusing text. But when it comes to a guy that is maybe less conventionally attractive, like obviously this is all perspective, but there's something about them making you feel a little more special. They work harder to impress you. Yeah, I totally agree with this, actually.
You were going to say something.
I was not.
Okay. Then you talked about like body positivity, which I think is really cool. Because if I go to Lake Minnewaska, down to the beach, and I see anybody wearing anything, people are much more comfortable about wearing whatever they want now.
Yeah, you should be comfortable in your skin. And, it's a battle I think everybody has to grow up with, and especially with social media now. I mean, like you're seeing all these 10s everywhere, and you're like, I don't look like that. But it's like, if you can be more confident in yourself and you've got people cheering you on like we do, like we talk about body positivity on Straight Candid, like you're going to build your own confidence. You're going to focus on other things, and then you're going to look, you know what I mean? It's looking good. It's also about how confident you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've talked about that so many times on the podcast, just the energy you radiate when you feel good inside, regardless of what it looks like on the outside.
Exactly.
And as cheesy as it is true. That's like,
It
we
is.
talked about Hot Girl Summer. That's an awesome episode. And we talk about how to completely take advantage of the summer is just you being confident in your skin, and you'll never know like all these different energies that are you're going to attract just because of that confidence. So
a good example is like if you're at a bar, like the loudest person, the most confident, loud, exuding, like energy person is probably the one getting the most attention, right? That person is likely very confident. It's not always the most attractive person in the room.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like it's really not about what you look like. That's like very far off, but you know what I mean? It's like about who, how you feel, the confidence you bring, the energy that you like suck people in with. And that's what it is. You got to focus on that. Feel good about yourself.
Love it.
I also will say we were talking about attractive people. Jordan, my current boyfriend, very attractive, but he's nerdy. And that's he literally, if you find an attractive person that's nerdy, you hit the freaking jackpot, okay? That's
he doesn't know
literally
how
the
attractive
jackpot.
he is, does he?
I think he's starting to know because he gets way too many compliments on his beard. I'm not kidding you.
Jordan,
way too many.
Jordan, if you're listening, you're ugly.
He's like, no, I'm not.
Keep him
in place.
humble.
I was just on my phone. Jordan, right now, he's at a bar in L.A. He's at a nightclub in L.A.
What?
Yeah, he told
It's like 6 a.m. there right now.
I know. He told you he's at
Jordan.
home. Yeah, he just followed like 3 girls from Seattle that he
No,
met. So
no,
just
he
to let
texted
you know.
me. He goes, tell Dave he sounds cool and smart.
I
That's what he
sound,
literally
I
said.
sound cool and smart.
Yeah.
I am
Keyword.
not cool and smart.
That's
but
what he
thank
said.
You. Thank you, Jordan. I
hey,
appreciate
thanks, Jordan.
that one.
Oh, God.
All right. What if you can listen to the podcast one time and get hooked? What podcast episode should you listen to? 'Cause I know people ask you this all the time.
Oh, yeah.
You got about 100 or 80 or so different episodes. Yeah, maybe not that many.
No, I think we're at.
We're about to be at 40.
40,
Okay, well,
yeah.
then lower than I thought. Okay, so
My
if you got 40,
personal-
what should I listen to?
My personal favorite is episode 19. It's Instagram dynamics and how to go down in the DMs, something
Was
along
that
those
the one
lines.
that was the LA club story?
I think that
right?
actually,
Yeah.
I think that's when I
Yeah.
told
There's
it.
also
Yeah.
a crazy story at the end of that podcast that we share from a listener that's one of our favorites, and it blew up on TikTok. And it was just a really upbeat episode. It was Justin and I, and that's my all-time favorite episode is episode 19.
I like 25. It's expectations, like it's
Oh, yeah.
expectations of a female couple because we talk about a female couple. They're our friends. They're open about it. And it's really cool to hear that dynamic and understand that like just be like your nuances about gay people are probably not
Yes,
accurate in
I love
every
that
person.
one.
Like for instance, like they did not know that they were gay until they just fell in love with best friends. Like they were like both dating guys and they just fell in
Really?
love. Yeah.
It's
Okay.
it's
It's
just
just like-
because of the other person.
Yeah,
So that's another really good episode.
I think it just breaks stereotypes. That's my favorite episode, and I think all of our episodes break stereotypes in some way. But that's what we want to do. Like, just be real, have
Nice.
a conversation.
Well, again, I will say that as somebody who is not your target demo in your podcast, if I liked it, then it's a really good podcast.
Anyone
Hey.
will like
And
it.
it is.
Thanks,
it's called
Dave.
Straight Candid with Sid and Sophie. Thanks, you guys, for coming
Thank
in.
you.
Thanks for having us.
Tell Jordan that I said hi. We should hang out and talk finance sometime.
yeah, I will. I'll tell them. But in the meantime, everybody follow at Straight Candid Podcast on Instagram if you can.
At Straight Candid Podcast. So,
Yes, please.
Thanks, you guys, for coming in. Appreciate
Thanks for having
it.
us.
It's Sid and Soph, and it's the Dave Ryan in the Morning Show on 101.3 KDWB.